The Business Buzz is brought to you by Cayman Insurance Center, celebrating 46 years in the Cayman Islands, specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services. And also brought to you by Cayman Medical Supplies. Call them at 949-6211.
And now, The Business Buzz, an insightful and fresh take on a variety of issues that impact the local business environment. This is where we address the business topics that matter. Here's your host, Sabrina Turner.
Good morning, Cayman, and welcome to Radio Cayman's Business Buzz. I'm your host, Sabrina Turner. After 12 weeks of what Susan and even my peers here are saying sabbatical, but what a journey it has been. It has been something that definitely over the course of the upcoming weeks, based on our guests that we will be interviewing, hearing the stories and coming out on the other end of what none of us could actually have been prepared for. COVID-19 has impacted our businesses, our lives, even challenged our mental capacity. And it also brought out some excellent cooks, brought out some bakers. We were able to really appreciate our personal surroundings, but keeping it locked and focus on what our show is about. I'm interested and eager to hear from entrepreneurs, micro and small businesses, how they have actually survived, continue to be here, and moving forward. So it's not all loom and gloom about the negatives, but definitely having the conversations. It is my pleasure to be back and I'm excited, busting at the seams to get this new life of dealing with COVID that will be around for a very long time. Something that we are present. It's something that we have to deal with, but life doesn't stop. During this 12-week hiatus, we want to thank our sponsors, Cayman Insurance Center and Cayman Medical Supplies, for sticking with us. Their loyalty to the Radio Cayman's Business Buzz means a lot. Without further ado, I want to welcome our first guest. And it's, they said it is Social Butterflies. They were supposed to come on the very same week that we pretty much said, we don't know what we're going. This is uncharted waters. Let's just shut this down right now. And it's amazing to see the importance of online marketing, website, all of the various networks and how we kept connected. And here they are today as our first guests moving into this new phase. It is my pleasure to welcome Ms. Kaylin Bodden and Ms. Tesla Oviedo, both business partners of Social Butterflies, to tell us more about their business and to get a little insight on how they're dealing with their business during COVID, now that we're trying to get out on the other end of it, and to let you know how they can help your business move forward. Good morning, ladies, and welcome to the show.
Good morning, Sabrina. Thank you for having us.
Good morning.
It is a pleasure, and definitely, I don't even want to think about what the conversation really would have been like pre-COVID, but I'm eager to hear what you have to say now that we've been through for our jurisdiction what we would say the most panicking time, one of uncertainty, but we have been able to keep our hands on the pulse and navigate our way through this. Hence, we're back live right here in Radio Cayman Studios. But tell us how your company, Social Butterflies, was established. Tell us what it's all about. I mean, you're talking about social distancing now, and we're talking about Social Butterflies. Explain to our listening and viewing audience what this all means.
Absolutely. So we were established in December of 2018, and we actually met at a previous job. We were in a very similar industry. And I just feel that Tesla and I both had passions that we felt we weren't being pushed to our fullest potential. And one thing led to another, and we decided to start this. And it was very much with the goal to help small businesses and to offer them bespoke packages introducing social media, because Cayman is a little bit behind as far as, other countries like the United States and the UK, who are all online and everyone's online. Everyone has a website. Everyone has a social media presence. So we wanted to help them and introduce that to them, offer them these types of things, while also keeping in mind the budget. You know,
Right, yes.
It's very important to us to help people in that area.
And especially micro and small businesses. And I know you're being polite for saying we're a little behind. If COVID hasn't taught us or shown us how behind the 8 ball we are when it comes to simple, how important it is to have online banking, using your online banking, not being scared of doing transactions online, paying bills and all that sort of stuff. And I think your timing in having you here is key, because there's so much uncertainty. People still not trusting. They still want to go, example, to pay their utility bills and walk out with a receipt in their hand versus sitting in in the front of their computer, their laptop, their smartphone, under an almond tree, eating some good fish stew or something. You know, it's that simple. So how do you make people embrace this? Because if you didn't know that it's here to stay, during COVID has proven it's going nowhere, meaning being able to navigate websites, you pay your utility bills, just life as a whole.
Exactly. We kind of like joke around with Kaylin all the time that we used to we do the own lead generation and everything, and we had to show people the value of having a website and like trying to sell a website to people. And now it's the other way around. Now people are like they want to come to us, and they see the value now, you know, because as their storefronts have to be shut, they can still remain open online. And that's a good thing.
No, absolutely. And I think there is this ease. That's, you know, without a doubt, it's way easier to do everything online. I think it's just getting people out of that mindset that, like, there is no fear of the internet. You know, it can be scary. Yes, you can get hacked. But most times, if you're careful and safe and you know what you're doing, everything will be fine. Honestly, it's the way to go. Like, online, everything.
Now, I know that has pretty much break the ice as to how you all have managed to come through COVID-19. But tell us, with this pandemic, whilst in the shelter in place, I know that you, based on the line of your business and maybe existing clients, you were there through it all. So pretty much you probably never shut down, so to speak. Tell us how you manage that.
No, we were really lucky, honestly. I feel like because of our industry and our line of work, I've heard different opinions, I think maybe with smaller marketing companies within businesses, maybe. But like Tesla said, we had a lot of clients come to us who previously were like, oh, we didn't want a website. Now we understand the value. So, of course, it was difficult. Like any other business, we did struggle.
Right.
But thankfully, we were able to get through it by being this, you know, company that wants to help people. We pushed ads to try to tell people, hey, we have business solutions, we have website solutions that are cost affordable. So it was all about just like letting people know, hey, we are here, we're not going anywhere, and we want to help.
What lessons would you say you would have taken away from this pandemic situation when you sit down now and almost looking back 8 weeks ago?
I think the ability to adapt. That's like one thing that I think is really important takeaway is just the ability to adapt, the ability to say, okay, you know what, we need to go online. We have X amount of weeks to do it. Let's go. Yeah, we don't have the storefront anymore. The storefront has to be closed.
Right.
So just being open and having that ability to adapt quickly.
Now, we always hear brick and mortar versus doing it online. Do you think that will eventually brick and mortar type style business, when you look at how many persons are now still encouraged to work from home? Even shows like this we were actually doing remotely, and there was just Susan in the studio. You think what we knew as bricks and mortar business will change in the future?
I think so. We heard of a lot of companies, you know, especially like in the legal administrative way, that they're going to keep their staff. They're going to do kind of like a hybrid, because they also seen the value of how they can save a lot of money and space in the office space. And I've heard that a lot of people are going to do that. And in regards of the same question to smaller businesses, I think also the hybrid, because restrictions are easing and we're opening back up, but they will still keep the online presence as well. And we've seen a lot of our clients evolving with this, and some of them, if not most of them, actually capitalizing during this crisis.
Now, the virus, this entire pandemic, has taught us many lessons. What do you think are some discussions that has to be had for small business in terms of preparedness, reliability, sustainability before and after a pandemic? Now, we understand that there were a lot of legislations as well with even how the banks viewed micro and small businesses that has to be revisited. What do you take away from that?
Well, if we speak about being prepared, like we said, we had a few clients that actually were prepared. They saw the value. We had already live e-commerce, fully functional live sites, literally weeks before the pandemic. So that gave them, like, they were ahead of the game, right? And the other people that came after, is like it's time sensitive. We're trying to like create packages to go live as soon as possible. But yet preparedness, this is it. These guys were ahead of the game. They had their store online. If we speak of reliability, reduce in-store business doesn't really mean reduce in business.
Right.
So one of the most positive aspects that have begun to develop during this lockdown is the rise in things like online shopping, home deliveries, virtual events. I had some people having virtual parties, virtual brunches, and you see it now in Cayman staycations, right?
Right.
A lot of the hotels, this is the industry that's suffering the most, are doing these staycations with local rates and stuff like that. We have clients that are, charters, for example, the tour charters. We're going to start to do like a local rate once the Stingray cities open and stuff like that. But now more than ever, your online presence is
definitely
as relevant.
You're in tune to Radio Cayman's Business Buzz, and I'm your host, Sabrina Turner. Yes, we're back after 12 weeks of just sheltering in place in many ways, but I'm happy to be back. And our first guest this morning, we put the spotlight on Social Butterflies. That is a boutique online marketing company that focuses on quality, services, and timely delivery. They have the expertise to create unique marketing, mix of services, and bespoke packages to meet their clients' needs. Find out how they can help you today, and definitely when we come back after these few messages, we'll share their contact details, helping you out the other end of COVID.
Oh gosh.
Don't let the stress of taking care of loved ones get you down.
Home care, now made easier with Cayman Medical Supplies. 100% Caymanian owned. Cayman Medical Supplies now stocks a wide range of home care supplies. Hospital beds, all types of wheelchairs, including beach access wheelchairs, lifts, commodes, shower chairs, walkers, Curad brand orthopedic supplies, free blood glucose monitors with the purchase of 1 pack of test strips, blue underpads, and a whole lot more.
Need home care convenience? Drop by Cayman Medical Supplies at 93 Smith Road, Windward Center, or call 949-6211. Free delivery.
We know there has been a lot of changes, and Cayman Medical Supplies is here for the community. From gloves and sanitizers to mandatory supplies, including masks. Hours are now Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Saturday, 9 a.m. till noon. Free delivery island-wide.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
Wilfred Gillis Connolly, 1894 to 1942. Wilfred Gillis Connolly, born and raised in East End, is remembered as a generous, honest, and well-respected gentleman. For many years, he owned and operated a small mercantile business in East End. He was also a farmer and vestryman. In the late 1930s, Mr. Connolly closed his business and went to sea with the Merchant Marine. During World War II, in 1942, his ship was torpedoed and he lost his life.
Now more than ever, we need safe spaces for healing and reflection. Rotary Central supports our National Gallery in its noble efforts to provide access to the arts. an opportunity for all the family to learn history, ignite creativity, experience Caymanian heritage, glimpse the wider dimension of our humanity. Join us at the National Gallery as we reopen to the public Wednesday, July 15th in full compliance with safe distancing and best practice requirements. You will see the Island of Women exhibit featuring 26 local artists exploring invaluable contributions that women have made to the Cayman Islands. You will view the remarkable Bendel Heights Acquisition Showcase. Bendel is our Picasso. You will view Salt Water in Their Veins, a new exhibition that explores Cayman's evolving relationship to the ocean, featuring 45 local artists. Book your visit in advance to avoid waiting for entry. Call 945-8111. Rotary Central and the National Gallery, supporting wellness and healing. Rotary opens opportunities.
Radio Cayman's historical vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
Our family at Cayman Insurance Center wishes to extend our heartfelt gratitude to the community for your loyal patronage during these challenging times. For 46 years, Cayman Insurance Center has worked to protect your family, and whilst our doors have been closed due to COVID-19, our staff are working remotely to serve your insurance needs. Whether you need to get a quote, renew a policy, or file a claim, Cayman Insurance Center is here to protect you and your family. Your family's health is everything. Please do all that you can to protect it. From our Cayman Insurance Center family to yours, stay safe, stay Cayman strong. Thank you for supporting small and medium-sized businesses here on island.
Cayman Insurance Center, specializing in property, life, health, and other lines of insurance products and services at affordable rates. Call them at 949-4657.
Business Buzz with your host, Sabrina Turner.
Coming to you live from the Radio Cayman studios right here in Georgetown, Grand Cayman, this is the Business Buzz, and we put the spotlight on hear more about social butterflies this morning with Kaylin Bodden and Tesla Oviedo, both business partners of Social Butterflies. Let's go straight into content factors, ladies. What is content marketing?
So content marketing is a strategic marketing approach based on creating and distributing valuable, relevant, consistent content to attract and retain a clearly defined audience and ultimately to drive profitable customer action. But I think the question itself is really interesting because content marketing is so many things. It's not just like one thing, but the importance of putting content out there and making sure that it is relevant and it brings people back to you, back to your website, and turns into sales. We use meta tags, keywords, backlinking on any piece of content that we post so that it will go back to the client. We also utilize hashtags, and these all help content get to the right people in the right places.
Now, have you found it become more of now that we're allowed to go out and mingle a little bit more, that people are now engaging in these conversations, this hashtag, and people not understanding what it means? You find that people are coming up to you and asking you, really, how does this work? And not being ashamed of asking the questions.
For sure.
I think that when Instagram put the hashtag follow, that you can actually follow a hashtag, and people realize that you can use social media as a search engine you can follow hashtags. For example, you don't want to follow all the hair salons in the world, but you want to follow the hashtag hair salon highlights. So the people now, that because of Instagram, they can see that. We do that in Google Ads, but it's like in the back end. But in Instagram, you can do it in the front end. And a lot of people actually came and use social media as a search engine. So yes, that's really relevant to use the appropriate hashtags for the appropriate client, right?
And I think you run straight into search engines optimization. Let's talk about ways in which social media affects one search engine ranking and how you can help your clients turbocharge their brand to improve their chances of showing up. Because some people tend to think that, well, we know Big Brother is always watching, but more so on your smart devices. Sometimes if you even think about how do you make a nice dinner rolls with yeast, and all of a sudden you go to your smart device and there's something popping up on interest.
Yeah, that's called retargeting, and we do that service as well. I can explain you more, but yes, as definitely having social media presence helps for your online visibility, and it does help boost your SEO. A lot of people might think that Google does not crawl Facebook because they're not friends, but they do actually crawl Facebook. So if you, let's say, search for Radio Cayman and you have the website, but you also find the Facebook page, you also find the Google My Business, which is really important. We cannot stress this enough. Use Google My Business, people. And yes, it absolutely helps you increase visibility, like I say, improve local SEO, because each social media page, you have to add the location, right?
Yes.
So they will know. So you say cafes near me. So if maybe you don't have a website, but you're a small cafe, but you have a Facebook page, it will show up, exactly. So it does help, and it helps the content reach to more people. Okay. Yeah.
Let's talk about the importance of netiquette. How important is good netiquette and response time in a multi-channel world that we're living in?
Oh my goodness, it's so important, right? And I think it's because social media has really spoiled us in the sense of like now, immediate, you know, it's instant messaging. And so as far as with our clients, we make sure any client account that we run, we answer on time, including our own accounts. But our client accounts are a lot busier than ours these days. But yeah, no, absolutely replying on time. And as Tesla mentioned earlier, not only replying on time, but replying to those negative reviews as well as the positive reviews. They're just as important, if not more important, to address. A lot of people tend to want to get rid of those negative comments, but if the customer or whoever is leaving the review sees, oh my goodness, this person is taking the time to address the issue, is apologizing, could be offering something, you know, come back, have a free drink, whatever, they admire that, and other people see that, and that just helps.
Okay. Now, is there a way for your company to measure content effectiveness beyond traffic, social shares, and clicks? And why is this so important?
Well, like Kaylin said, content marketing answers your audience questions. If it doesn't answer a question, if it doesn't give a high quality response, if it doesn't do that, then the content piece might not perform well. So what we do is kind of like when we start with a new client, we kind of see where the pain points of the people are. Right. You know what I mean? So if you sell vegan food, you'll see like you're gonna start to write about trending and stuff like that. So we use data absolutely to create future content based on the most performing social media posts. Why did this picture perform better than everybody else? We have tools to measure that. How besides the things that you measure, how we can also measure with time on page, which tells us how much time did that person spend on that specific blog post per se. If it's only a few seconds, we know that they just left. But if they spend 5 minutes or they come back and revisit it, it's like, okay, this is a well-performing post. Let's carry on with the same subject or create something that's along the lines.
Now, for those persons listening to us and probably watching us via our YouTube stream, how can persons get additional information or reach out to you? So what is the best way?
You can visit our website, socialbutterflies.ky, and you can email us at hello@socialbutterflies.ky.
Well, hello. What if somebody wants to just do it the traditional way?
Oh. You can call us too. That works as well. I mean, we have our number. It's also, you can contact us on our personal phones. I mean, we're always working. So 924-1918, if you guys have any questions, honestly. One thing I would like to point out as well is we always offer a complimentary discovery meeting for any client that does want to sit down and just talk about ways that we can help them or pain points that they're having. We will love to sit down, hear what you have to say, and then go from there.
What do you look for in successful what do you look for in the successful client relationship that has been, based on feedbacks that you've gotten from even your clients already?
I think a successful client business relationship, this is across the board, right? This is not just our industry, but we value, mutual respect, communication is super important, transparency, and just, being open and honest about what the pain points are and how we can get through them together.
Looking forward for what's coming in the new chapter of doing business and for the remainder of 2020 and moving, just looking for a future, what can we expect from Social Butterflies?
Okay, well, you can expect us to keep doing e-commerce. That's going to, stay. It's here to stay. Even if the stores open back up, it's like a new revenue stream for them as well. You can sell both, right? Expect conversational marketing. Like you said, people are more sparking the conversation, asking for things. Expect a lot of websites that have a landing page or splash page regarding the new normal. What are your company's take? What is your company doing to be responsible for if you visit their store or socially responsible, and expect geolocation ads and working a lot with monetizing Wi-Fi. Right. So that's what we're working out.
Now, you being in the whole digital world and in the marketing side of things, have there been any changes that you've made in how you even interact with customers despite you being in the digital world? Have there been any changes in how your business operates?
Oh, we're having a lot of Zoom meetings, if that's that's what you mean. I mean, pretty much this is one of our first in-person meetings we've had in a while. I mean, so
welcome. It's a pleasure.
Thank you for having us. That has been one thing, but I mean, we've adapted pretty quickly. I mean, it wasn't much change for us as far as,
we already work remotely most of the time, so
so that aspect, I would say, was pretty much the same.
Yeah, the only things maybe when we have to actually go and capture content, we want to make a video, take a picture. Right. That's a little bit challenging now.
It's been more difficult.
Yeah.
What would you like to summarize about the main services that is offered, and what key takeaways would you like our viewers and listeners to take away from this discussion this morning? And that could be both of you in your own words.
That digital marketing is very beneficial for your business. Even if your company is small and don't have the budget to hire somebody else, we actually very affordable, but there's some things that you can do and take on your business. You can do social media, you can do little things that will help your business thrive.
I think like Tesla said, don't feel as if because you've never done it before, you've never had a website, you've never had a social media presence, that you suddenly just can't. We truly believe that all businesses, no matter how small, no matter even if it's like a pest control company, yes. No matter what it is, a cleaning company, you should still have an online presence. It makes you easier to find. Customers love it. It's also a way for you to interact and share personal things and other things that, customers might not be able to see.
All right. Well, ladies, it has been a pleasure speaking with you this morning and being our first guests coming out of this end of COVID. And we want to wish you all continued success. Here is one of those silver linings that we know for sure will enhance the services that you provide. And we hope that by means of getting you out here and having this discussion, putting your business forward, that it would yield new business and persons willing to embrace this new norm when it comes to social media. Again, continued success to you and all the best.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having us.
It's a pleasure. Please stick with us. More on Radio Cayman's Business Buzz. When we come back, we'll be putting the focus on On-Course Cayman, managing anxiety and stress during COVID-19 pandemic.
Thank you, Sabrina. And studio time now by Foster's is 7:59.
At Foster's, you can save big on your groceries.
This week, we have Essential Everyday Almond Milk, $3.99 each. Save $1.30. Colgate Optic White Toothpaste, $3.49 each. save up to $5.50. And Ocean Spray juices 4 for $5. Save $1.76 on 4.
Price is good July 9th to the 22nd, 2020. For more big savings, pick up our weekly specials flyer in-store or visit fosters.ky. Fosters, better prices because we care.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
On a daily basis, making it easy to connect with you, our listeners. Add us to WhatsApp today, 925-3261. That's 925-3261.
Radio Cayman.
Send a text or voice note.
Can I send a request, please?
You don't really have to ask us. Just send a request.
This is a shout out to my ex.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
The voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
From district to district, moving through the waters to Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Your station, your voice. All things Cayman. One radio, many people. This is home.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
The 8 a.m. News is proudly sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. For further information, please visit chamberpension.ky. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you. Did you know that with the COVID-19 Emergency Withdrawal Program, we reviewed over 12,000 member applications in May, approved over 8,000 applications, and paid over CI 90 million to our members from June 12th onwards? We are the Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan, and we're here for you. For further information regarding the Emergency Withdrawal Program, visit chamberpension.ky, and for information as it happens, follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Email admin@pensions.ky or call 745-7630.
Your voice, your choice for today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. The Cayman Islands National Museum is reopening its facilities to the public this week. As of Monday, the shop opened its doors from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. It will remain closed on the weekends, though. The audiovisual theater and galleries will open on July 20th, also from 9 until 3, and from there on, they will still stay closed on the weekends. The museum says it's committed to the health and well-being of its visitors, members, volunteers, and staff, and they're reopening with protective COVID-19 measures in place, including things like making visitors and staff wear masks, implementing temperature checks upon entry, encouraging social distancing, placing hand sanitizing stations throughout the shop and the museum to make sure that visitors can practice good hygiene, and periodic hourly and end-of-the-day sanitizing of the shop and galleries to help prevent the spread of COVID-19. In the meantime, they will continue to monitor, assess, and adjust their phased reopening and the plan, which they will let their members know about via social media. The museum says they will fall in line with the guidance and recommendations from government, the Health Services Authority, and the Hazard Management Control Unit. And despite the border remaining closed due to the COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic, Cayman is still making waves across the globe, this time for being a top beach in the Caribbean. Here's Radio Cayman Shanda Gallego with more.
Forbes senior contributor for travel, Jim Dobson, in a Forbes article entitled The Top Caribbean Beaches for 2020, names 7 Mile Beach on Grand Cayman as a top Caribbean beach spot. Jim Dobson notes, located in the most popular beach resort area, the coral sand and calm surf make this perfect for swimming and offers every activity you could ever want, from snorkeling to parasailing. Dobson named Smith Cove, Kimankai, Sandy Point, and Owen Island as runners-up. Other top Caribbean beaches making the list: Green Island in Antigua, Crane Beach in Barbados, Grace Bay Beach in Turks and Caicos, Frenchman's Cove in Jamaica, and West Bay Beach in Roatan, Honduras. Jim Dobson notes many regions in the Caribbean are finally reopening to tourists. this month and throughout the summer, while strict health restrictions and testing on arrival will remain. Some islands are requiring tests done 72 hours prior to arrival, as well as proof of medical insurance. With the current ban on European travel for U.S. travelers, Dobson says the Caribbean will see a surge in tourism throughout the summer and festive season. He says, remember to wear a mask when in public and social distance from other beachgoers throughout your travels so that we can continue to enjoy these magnificent locations. Shanda Gallego, Radio Cayman News.
Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which will take us out of the newscast. I'm Karsley Fuller from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
BBC News with Jerry Smith. In a long-anticipated announcement, the British government has decided it will stop using equipment from the Chinese tech giant Huawei for its 5G telecoms networks. Only 6 months ago, it had decided to give Huawei a limited role. The Trump administration suspects Huawei's equipment might be used for intelligence purposes. Huawei has denied this. China says it will impose sanctions on the U.S. defense firm Lockheed Martin for involvement in the latest U.S. arms sale to Taiwan. Although Beijing regularly denounces such sales, the Foreign Ministry's announcement is another sign of increased diplomatic tensions between China and the United States. The pro-independent Speaker of the Catalan Parliament has accused the Spanish government of spying on political opponents, including himself. Newspaper reports allege that Roger Turen's phone had been infected with a spy program. Spain's government has said it had no evidence that the phones in question were targeted. The Electoral Commission in Belarus has disqualified the main rival to President Alexander Lukashenko from standing in presidential elections next month. It barred Viktor Babariko on the grounds of alleged irregularities in his financial declarations and the alleged participation of a foreign organisation in his campaign. The border clashes between Armenia and Azerbaijan into their third day have claimed their most prominent casualties so far. A Defence Ministry official in Baku said an Azerbaijani general and a colonel had died in action this morning. The official also claimed Armenia had lost 100 troops, but Yerevan insists it suffered no casualties. BBC News.
The 8 a.m. news is proudly sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. For further information, please visit chamberpension.ky. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you. Did you know that with the COVID-19 emergency withdrawal program, we reviewed over 12,000 member applications in May, approved over 8,000 applications, and paid over CI 90 million to our members from June 12th onwards? We are the Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan, and we're here for you. For further information regarding the emergency withdrawal program, visit chamberpension.ky, and for information as it happens, follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Email admin@pensions.ky or call 745-7630.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
When a storm is approaching, be sure to not only stock up on drinking water, but also non-drinking water. This is water that can be used for cleaning and washing. You can store non-drinking water in clean bathtubs or other large sterile containers. Visit the Water Authority's website, www.waterauthority.ky, or follow us on social media for more hurricane preparedness tips.
Wow, looks good. What is that?
Chicken share.
What did you just say to me?
Chicken share.
I am not a chicken
Whoa! I said chicken share. It's from KFC. Bucket of 12 hot wings, 6 pieces of chicken, or 8 tenders. KFC chicken share. Just $12 each.
Oh.
Want some chicken, tenders, or hot wings?
You're sharing your chicken share with me?
The new chicken share from KFC, just $12 each, and it's finger-licking good. Dine at KFC Baytown Plaza, KFC Shedden Road, or KFC at the Strand.
The Weather Report is proudly sponsored by Super Stitch Sewing and Fabric Center, your one-stop household store at 39 Pasador Place, Smith Road. Still offering the best prices in town. Call 949-2833 or go to superstitch.com.ky. New stock has just arrived at Super Stitch. Now don't take my word for it, drop by and see for yourself. Fresh off the boat, we have loads of fabric, vinyl upholstery fabric, fabric for cushions, outdoor fabrics, and dress fabric. That's not all. Super Stitch has sewing accessories and craft items. Included in the new shipment, you will find sheets, comforters, throw pillows, bath mats, rugs, and curtains for every room in your home. Super Stitch, 39 Pasadora Place, Smith Road. Still offering the best price in town. Call 949-2833 or go to superstitch.com.ky.
Good morning. Time now for your latest weather report. Current temperature is 86 degrees. Relative humidity is 77%. Barometric pressure 29.98 inches and falling. The wind is out of the east at 9 knots. Overnight low temperature was 82 degrees. Synopsis indicate light easterly winds and seas along with isolated afternoon showers are expected over the Cayman area for the next 24 hours as a tropical wave moves over the Cayman Islands. Radar images show isolated showers in and around the Cayman Islands moving west. Now the forecast for today calling for partly cloudy skies with a 30% chance of afternoon showers, and temperatures will be in the upper 80s. Your winds will be east to northeast at 5 to 10 knots, and seas will be slight with wave heights of 1 to 3 feet. Partly cloudy skies for tonight with a 20% chance of showers, and temperatures will dip to the low 80s tonight. Your winds will be east to northeast at 5 to 10 knots, and seas will be slight with wave heights of 1 to 3 feet. Today's low tide will occur this morning at 11:27, high tide again this evening at 6:47, and the sun will set this evening at 5 minutes past 7 and will rise tomorrow morning at 5:57. And the outlook is calling for an increase in cloudiness and showers from tomorrow morning, as an upper-level trough is expected to move across the Cayman area.
Superstitch Sewing and Fabric Center was the proud sponsor of the Weather Report, your one-stop shop for all of your household items, craft items, jewelry, beads, and decorations, and much more. Call Superstitch at 949-2833 or email customer care at superstitch.com.ky.
Super Stitch. We are known for our amazing fabrics, top quality tailoring, and dressmaking. But did you know that we also carry trimmings, glitter, sequins, acrylic paints for fabrics and craft, floral wire, glues, markers, foam balls, and assorted ribbons? Yes, we do. You have a do-it-yourself project? Just pop into Super Stitch and see what we have in store for you. There is a craft item for your every need.
My favorite, the beads, glass ones, flat, and even those shell ones.
Super Stitch, your one-stop household store at 39 Pasadora Place, Smith Road. Still offering the best prices in town. Call 949-2833 or go to superstitch.com.ky.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Good morning once again. Let's take a look at what's happening traffic-wise. Coming from the east, steady traffic but flowing. Some sections are Cool Road steady, other section busy. Coming off of Bobby Thompson Way, traffic steady but flowing. Moderate flow of traffic on North Sound Road, Godfrey Nixon Way and Eastern Avenue, traffic flowing pretty good. Light traffic on Owen Roberts Drive, and coming from the West Bay four-way stop, traffic is moderate in both directions. And moderate flow of traffic in front of the Ritz on the West Bay Road. And Owen Roberts Drive light traffic. If you see any accidents or incidents, let us know by calling us at 949-6990. That's the very latest in traffic. Join us again at about 10 minutes after 12. We'll give you another traffic outlook. Have a good morning and drive safe, Cayman Islands.
Our subs made your way with multiple ordering and delivery options. Subway is making it easy for you to enjoy your favorite sandwiches, pizzas, and salads by offering delivery until 10 p.m. from West Bay to Bordentown. $5 delivery fee, no minimum order. Call the Subway location nearest to you or simply WhatsApp your order to 929-4658. You can also order Subway from Let's Eat or the Bento app, or visit our Anderson Square, Centennial Towers, West Shore Center, Industrial Park, East End Windham, and Countryside Shopping Village. Visit Subway Cayman's Facebook and Instagram page for current store hours. Subway, eat fresh.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Business Buzz with your host, Sabrina Turner. Business Buzz with your host, Sabrina Turner.
Good morning and welcome back to Radio Cayman's Business Buzz. Thank you for sticking with me and staying with me. At this segment, we put the spotlight on Course Cayman. And, you know, COVID-19 pandemic has impacted us in all areas. Fear and anxiety during this pandemic, even now that, here in the Cayman Islands, we have begun to come out, there's a little bit more relaxation. Some sort of what we knew as a norm pre-COVID is now coming back post-COVID with, of course, disclaimers and different safety measures. And all of this can be overwhelming and, causing strong emotions in adults. Even how has it affected children? From our pets have been affected. And managing our anxiety, being proactive about our psychological well-being can help manage our mental health during these times of uncertainty. And that is why I am pleased to have with us the team from On Course Cayman in studio with me to share with us about how to navigate this new uncharted way of living and to just take it, I guess, in little nuggets. But I'm not the specialist. I'm not the expert here. But I'm quite sure that a lot of answers will be shared here from these two ladies. I am pleased to have and welcome in studio psychologist Dr. Alexandra Bodden and social worker Miss Natalie Baldwin of On Course Cayman to tell us more. Ladies, it's a pleasure and welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. It's a pleasure as well for us.
Now, well-being, by asking you as mental health professionals, seeing that you're always helping others, how are you both holding up from, the business perspective? And congratulations on your buns in the oven.
Thank you. Yeah, we've definitely had an extra layer, and I will say that I think it's really made us appreciate some of the benefits of COVID. This is my first day. We're actually heading back into the office today to prep for clients, hopefully for next week. So getting up and getting dressed was a new ordeal.
Challenge.
Yes.
I know the feeling.
Yeah, but I think definitely looking after ourselves has been even more important in that situation through all of this, and we've definitely been practicing what we preach.
Right.
And so everyone that knows us knows that we do a lot in the office with active coping skills, deep breathing, making sure you're doing things that you enjoy, making time for yourself. What you may not know is that I do a lot of work with horses.
Yes.
Miss Natalie's actually a trained yoga instructor, so we've also got our things on the side that we enjoy doing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So coming out on the other end of this with the business perspective, understanding how interactive what you do, how personal it can also become, not only with the new way we just had social butterflies through digital, but sometimes you have to be in your client space. How are you holding up with dealing with this post this COVID, or trying to get out on the other end of it?
Yeah. Well, I think that we actually were very fortunate that we had a pretty smooth transition to online. It's something that we already had set up. And so that was really nice to already have that set up online for all of us. We knew how to do it, to then introduce the clients to it. It was an adjustment, and it is different.
Right.
We have some clients that I think have really enjoyed the telehealth, and probably, if insurance permits, will stay that way.
Okay.
And I have others that are just waiting to get back into the office. I will say it's nice to have the convenience of the telehealth. And I think with some of the restrictions with coming back into office, some may opt to stay maybe online a little bit longer. But it is different, and that's why I said, especially working like with families or especially with young people, it's hard to not be in the room with the person.
Exactly.
And for me, I feel like when I'm doing therapy, people often worry about us, oh, it's so draining, but actually, when it's working well, we actually get energy back as well. But I find I don't get as much of that with the online.
Right.
So
it's robotic almost. It is very robotic.
Yeah. And I think, some clients like it, that it's convenient, it's in their house, they don't have to come, they don't have to wait in the office, they're not going to risk it.
Right.
So I think for some clients it works well, but for other clients I do think that the in-person part is important.
It's key.
That's been my experience at least.
And it's more of a transition with the teens and the youth, because it's harder to keep their attention and their attention span. But that's something that I actually really enjoy, because I'm a very creative person, so it's a lot more of the out-of-the-box thinking and what we could do to build that therapeutic rapport and keep them engaged via telehealth. Okay. And so that's something what I've enjoyed.
Now, what are some signs a person may be experiencing anxiety and stress? It was one thing being in our homes for the shelter in place before we got some ease. And I can remember looking for the Sundays where it was literally like a ghost town. How were people... How can you identify that you're going through or experiencing anxiety and stress? What are the telltale signs of that?
Well, so there's a lot of things that we can look for, and a lot of times it is coming out as anxiety. And I'm glad you asked this, because I think it's important. I think a lot of people were really worried about mental health with the lockdown, but my concern is actually the transition to the new normal. I fear it's actually going to be more stressful. So I think it's even more important for people now to be conscious of their mental health and what they're doing to look after themselves as well. Some signs of anxiety or just stress, right? So high levels of stress are going to be things like difficulty sleeping. Some people are going to sleep more, some people are going to sleep less. They might have changes in appetite. They might be eating more. That's definitely I got the quarantine 15 for sure. Or they might be eating less. They might be more irritable. Yeah. They might feel more sad. They might have less motivation or harder times focusing. I think that was the most frustrating part for people working from home, is just not feeling as productive and not having all their stuff there. Now going back into office, though, with the new restrictions, never really sure what's going to happen. There's a lot of uncertainty still.
Right.
And I would say even more fears about the risk of getting virus, or risk of getting exposed, and now we're allowed out, but what do we do when we see people?
Exactly.
And so there's new anxieties and new stresses that are coming out.
Now, it was one thing personally that I've been through, and it went from, thank God he locked us down. I can exhale. I can enjoy my space. And then the first couple of hours, or maybe let's say the first 24, 48, you don't have to worry. I took off all of my alarms for waking up and all that good stuff. And then those little voices started talking. Well, if this goes on for a month, what will happen with you and the landlord? But hold on now. There's also medical insurance. There's also rent. And then you look at reality of what was in your bank book, because you're not fortunate enough to have that nest egg. And then you start to think 5 months down the line, and you can't answer those questions. And then it went from, I don't want to get out of bed, to I can't sleep without a sleeping aid. Yeah. And you have to have these conversations. For me, what I found helpful is that thanks to social media, I was able to keep in touch with my friends, my family especially. And we spoke about, and then you seeing all of these good food cooking on Facebook. And then I tried to compete to make coconut tarts. So it was amazing how you went over and went through all of these things. But the mental side of it, people are finding these staycations key, because even though we have been in shelter in place, call it 3 months, we are drained. And my hats go off and applaud all of those parents who were home, who never, ever had shelter in place, so to speak, when it came from work. And they had to deal with their kids. They had to deal with not having a helper, a nanny, and still got it done.
Oh, yeah.
I applaud all of those parents out there who kept it together. So when you look at from the professional standpoint, these staycations are key.
Yeah. And it's a great way to get out, let off steam. and get a bit of a break. And I think it will provide a nice transition.
Yes.
We were at the Kimpton ourselves this weekend, just for the day. So, but it gives a nice transition to find to the new normal that we'll be going back to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, when
back into routines.
That's right. Now, when it comes to stressful situations, what persons are more prone to stress during a pandemic? Understanding we looked up to our leaders, and this is globally. I'm not talking only Cayman. People who you thought had the answers, they were just as lost. It kind of put us all almost on a level playing field with respect. Oh, yeah. But when it comes to stressful situations, what persons are more prone to stress during situations like this? Have you found?
Yeah,
I would say, there's not one person to say that you're more prone and more, resilient, but the ones that have the coping skills know the coping skills and then can actually utilize the coping skills.
Right.
Because I can know the coping skills all day. I can know how to do the deep breathing, the physical activity, the healthy eating, but that doesn't make me want to still go order a pizza when I get stressed out, right? Which sometimes still happens. So it's one of those things. I think it's important to have the coping skills, the support system, and to also give you grace during this time, because a lot of us, like I always mention, and maybe this is something that, I see, is we have a lot of expectations. Yes. Especially those parents, those stay-at-home moms, the single moms. It's still a full-time job. So there's still all these high expectations, and it's okay to take it one day at a time, which can be scary.
Yes.
Yeah. I'd say in particular with this kind of health crisis, particularly people who are vulnerable. So older people, I know a lot of the older people I talk to, primarily family, have a lot of health concerns even now. They're worried. And actually, they're more worried about passing it on to the younger ones. Yes. So that they have a lot of worries about it, especially since the disease itself is not very understood. You can't get a definitive answer.
Exactly.
So I'd say anyone, any of the older people, the people with underlying medical conditions that are going to be more vulnerable to the disease, persons with a history of mental health or substance use condition, need to definitely stay in treatment, or if you have a history of it and you notice those signs coming back, get back in touch with your provider.
Right.
I think the kids have had a huge transition, so they're gonna be ones that we want to look out for. And the first responders as well, those involved at the front line. We've been very fortunate here to not have to deal with a lot of the deaths that we've been seeing overseas. Although we're all still exposed to the media, we know it could happen.
Exactly.
Right.
And so those ones as well that have been, especially the ones that have had to continue working and have been exposed and have then put their families at risk as well, under increased stress too.
Now, what would you say to someone who may be feeling overwhelmed with emotions like sadness and just being able to cope? We have heard, you're all small business owners like myself, that, the fear of continuity, that uncertainty, am I going to be able to maintain? How many persons may have actually gone through their heads where they found themselves not being with a job, not being able to support their family. Their business that they've put everything into is now closing its doors because of whatever reasons, whether they can't get access to proper, funding in order to keep them afloat. But what would you say to somebody who's just feeling overwhelmed and it's beyond their control? In all to be real, it's beyond their control.
Yeah.
How do you control that? What would you say?
You can't control it. Unfortunately, you can't. I think the important thing is not for what we say. It's just giving them the opportunity to safe place in order to let them discuss how they're feeling.
Right.
We don't sometimes always just express how we're feeling. We usually will sometimes go to the unhealthy coping patterns, such as increased appetite, appetite changes, substance abuse, other things like that. So giving them the opportunity to say what they need to say and discuss their fears of not having that control, which is a scary part, and validate and know, it is really scary to not have that control.
Yeah, definitely focusing on what is in your control, what you can do, like opting for maybe an apple before mine is the French fries. I know you said pizza, so, and focusing on what they can do in those situations. Right. But I'd say as well, it's, I think Ms. Nally said, nice, have grace with yourself. Know that you're going to have a reaction to these changes. Humans don't like change.
Yeah.
It's hard for us. We like to know what's going to happen, and we like to be in control. So be ready. Your mind and your body are going to be responding, right? So it might be more the emotional side. It might be the physical side. You might all of a sudden have stomach aches or headaches or back aches or feel really tired. So your body may be the one that shows it.
All right.
So know that that's okay, and that's a typical part of adjusting to change, but also that if that persists, or if it becomes overwhelming, or you're not able to do the things you normally do, at that stage it may be worthwhile reaching out and getting some support.
Now, what are some little things we can do to support ourselves mentally and emotionally during this stressful time? Because I'm quite sure this is going to be around for a long time, and it's almost like a graded phase. And even though domestically we have done very well, at the end of the day, we're looking at the social media, we're blasted with the news, and we see sometimes just a 45-minute flight away that their cases are much more. You're looking at an hour 5 where it used to be our stomping ground. Miami, Tampa is now considered the epicenter. If this is in the air, these are all things. And as you rightfully say, we're still learning so much more about it. What are some little things we can do to all support ourselves mentally, knowing that it is almost a day by day? I remember when it was press briefing to press briefing, how we lived our life. And now it's almost, I think it's gone to 3 weeks now, pretty much. But we have to deal with our own selves personally. What little things can we do to support each other, would you say? Ideas?
I would say the main thing that has helped me and that I recommend is to limit the social media use because it can be very overwhelming. And then a lot of it is a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety, a lot of sadness, a lot of more reminder it's not in my control. So limit it. Try not to look at it as soon as you wake up or right before you go to bed. Different things like that. And I'm a big believer in some kind of physical activity. So trying to do something, if it's going for a walk, that can help relieve some of those happy endorphins to help keep you motivated and active.
And I'd say with managing the thoughts, so Miss Natalie and I both practice CBT, amongst other things. And one of the strategies that we use there is something called cognitive restructuring. And it's not just thinking happy thoughts. And I think that that's an important thing, because when you're feeling scared or worried, it's hard just to go, everything's going to be okay and I love my life. Right? Because the reality is that there's a lot still up in the air. A lot of us are facing difficult times, even though we're coming back into work. And so it's okay to validate those feelings. I'm nervous because there's a lot of things that I'm not sure of right now. But then bring in the other information, but I'm going to stay as informed as I can. I'm going to focus on what I can do today to get me closer to where I want to be. And in that way, it helps to refocus things, it acknowledges that little kernel of truth that drives the fears and the anxieties, but then also brings in other information, right? Bringing in things that you're grateful for. While this has been a really stressful time, I'm glad that I've had time with my family. It's helped me to reassess my priorities, and I'm going to go into the new normal and design it as I want it to be. I think taking ownership and focusing on what we can control within the situation is important. I think we've got a great opportunity here with redesigning what we're going back into. So being a conscious player in it is going to be really important.
Well said, ladies. You're in tune to Radio Cayman's Business Buzz as we put the spotlight on Course Cayman, and our topic is managing anxiety and stress during COVID-19 pandemic. We'll be right back with more when we'll hear about what these ladies have to say for parents and caregivers. Keep it locked to Radio Cayman's Business Buzz when we come back.
Healthcare Pharmacy cares about your health. Our Grand Harbor location is open Monday to Saturday, 8 a.m. to 10 p.m., and on Sundays from 10 to 6. Our Governor Square Pharmacy on 7 Mile Beach is open from Monday to Saturday, 9 till 6. Ensure you wear a mask when entering and practice safe distancing. To refill or transfer prescriptions, call ahead or visit healthcarepharmacy.ky or WhatsApp on 329-7313.
Digicel is all about giving customers more convenience, more peace of mind, and more flexibility. Do more with the new My Digicel app. Buy plans, pay your bill, track your credit, track your data, and monitor your account. It's easy to use and has everything you need in one place. It's time to simplify your life, so go ahead and see for yourself. Download the new My Digicel app today. More made simple.
We give you one and pray.
Radio Cayman.
Praise time.
Praise him, praise him. Come on, let's praise the Lord. Come on, let's praise the Lord. Praise him in the morning and in the evening. Oh, let's praise the Lord.
Praise time in the morning.
Praise him, praise him.
Weekdays 6 to 6:30 a.m.
Radio Cayman, waking you up.
Rock my soul in the blues of my favorite. Rock my soul in the blues of my favorite.
Praise time.
I know he cares. He'll always be there. Oh, yeah. Praise him, praise him, praise him.
Praise time.
Set your clock for 6 a.m. or you will miss it.
Business Buzz with your host, Sabrina Turner.
Good morning and welcome back to Radio Cayman's Business Buzz, keeping the spotlight on Course Cayman. And in studio with me, I'd like to welcome psychologist Dr. Alexandra Bodden and social worker Miss Natalie Baldwin, both from On Course Cayman. And our topic this morning is managing anxiety and stress during COVID-19 pandemic. Now that here in the Cayman Islands, we're easing some of our restrictions, shelter in place is a history. Let's hope it's forever. But, we got to be real. We just got to be safe. And we're not out of the woods from this yet, but we're grateful to our leaders for how they have managed to steer us through these uncharted waters and times, and for all of those who were responsible enough to adhere to all of the rules that were put in place. But understanding that many of us, our lives have changed. What we know life as being in March of 2020 is no more. We have come out. Some of us are going back into our workplaces, even though it's slow. And the landscape of what we knew as an office in March to what we know our office looking like in July has changed. How we interact with even family members, how we interact with the elderly and children, working from home and just having that balance has brought its set of challenges. And it's all about managing our anxiety, stress, because we just can't sit down and just let life pass us by. Mm-hmm. We have to be there for one another in order to, we're resilient people, and we're going to come out of this much better. And I pray and I hope that experts like you guys will definitely be here. And we know that you're here to answer and to just quail all of those fears and anxieties. But for the reality is it's now summer holidays. Kids are home. They have been home, some of them from February. Right. It's an extended summer. I say we just wipe 2020 clean and just start fresh in 2021. But, when it comes to children, teens, and I'm going to direct this one to Natalie, in part to what you see from adults around them. Mm-hmm. Let's talk to us about the importance of how parents and caregivers should react around children in this whole new norm, because they're seeing news. They have smart device. You can limit them, yes, but it's there. Give us some tips on what you would actually state to parents and caregivers when they're dealing with children and teens, how to react.
I think the first thing to remember when you're a parent dealing with children and teens is to remember that they watch everything you do, and they're like sponges. So they will see how you react to the situation. So the first thing is self-care for yourself, which is the hardest thing because there's so many different hats as we express that's not the first thing you do is take care of yourself. You take care of your kids. But that's actually showing them that during this time, it's important to take care of your physical and mental well-being. The second thing is kids are smart, and it's always important to have open communication and to be honest. Let them know, hey, I know you wanted to go on summer vacation, and so did I. I'm really sad I can't do it. And validate and say, we can't do that, but let's create our new tradition, create new fun traditions, which is the staycations are different things. I think it's one of those things now. It's now more fun to go to the beach because you haven't been able to, and create some of those new routines. and then consistency in schedule. That helps kids and children, especially when things are not in their control, especially the younger ones, is to create a routine and a schedule and try to be consistent and do it together as a family. So that way they feel like they have some control over it. So those are some of the tips I have.
Good. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
Would you like to add in on that, Doc?
Yeah, no, I think that she got most of them there. Being able to talk to them and validate them, and looking after yourself first, which is always important for caregivers, and knowing that there's no right way to do it.
Yeah,
that's the part that scares me the most, I think, with kids.
Having my own kids.
Exactly. Now, not all children and teens respond to stress the same way. And what are some common changes to watch out for? You know, it should really just stand out. There's one thing of looking at, they're just tired of being home, or they're tired of seeing me around all the time. But I don't think that should ever be an excuse. Your parents, your caregivers. What are some of the flags, red flags that should go off in a parent's head? They have deviated from their norm. What are some of the things to look out for?
A lot of it is going to be similar to what we see with the adults, but with kids, I'd say especially the younger ones is going to be, changes in mood, irritability. They're going to be more cranky. They may have changes in appetite. They may be eating more. They may be eating less. They may have gotten more picky about things. They may have difficulty sleeping. They may be crying more. They may not want to do the things they used to do. You know, at this stage, you may think they want to go out. They may be nervous about going out. They may be feeling more sad and more withdrawn from everything happening, and they're finding it overwhelming to go out. So any kind of changes from how your kid used to be, if they're the kind that are really bubbly and go-getters, and all of a sudden they're hesitant to do things, if they're not getting up and doing the things they used to do, like maybe getting up and getting dressed and, getting ready for school online, whatever they normally do, if you see variations from their norm, it's worthwhile checking in and just seeing.
Well, let's talk a little bit about our first responders. Responding to COVID-19 can take an emotional toll on our first responders as well, because a lot of them never saw a break. Actually, they came under a lot more pressure, especially those working in the medical field. We have seen that ourselves, not only locally. Thank God we're still a blessed jurisdiction that we're not nearing what we're seeing in the U.S. and other parts of the world. But what can they do to reduce secondary traumatic stress reactions? Because I think we're all at some point are going to go through this. Some of us have probably already started going through it. And hence us really digging and saying, I'm going to Cayman Brack. I want to get a little Cayman. I want to go to Moritz. I want to do a staycation. You're trying to get away to exhale out of all of this. But our first responders, definitely, they really had it to the hilt.
Yeah, well, because a lot of them have been working long hours.
Exactly.
They've had far more exposure. So there's definitely a lot of stress, and definitely we are all grateful to them for everything that they have done. And definitely in the U.S., there's a huge trend of major mental health concerns with first responders, especially the physicians. So for them, I'd say it's really important to acknowledge what you're going through. It's okay to have those stress and those fears. Talk to your boss. Talk to your colleagues about what's going on. Try to focus on what you're able to do. Acknowledge that you're working to the best that you can with the limited resources that you have available to you.
Right.
I know that we've had shortages of not only medical supplies at times. Although I think Cayman has done a very good job of attaining those. At times, medical personnel are out because of quarantine or exposure. So they're all working not only under very stressful situations, but within the resources that they have available to them. And they're dealing with everyone else's stress.
Exactly.
Right? Because anyone that comes in there's not coming in because things are going well. So they're having to deal with the people, they're having to deal with the family, enforcing isolation. So I think definitely for them acknowledging the stress that they're going through, but then focusing on what they have been able to achieve. I had a supervisor who told me a story about the starfish. I'm not sure if you've heard of that.
No.
And that for me was always one that was helpful to get through those times. And so if I figured maybe if it helps one of them, I'll share it if that's okay. I'll just take a minute.
Go ahead, please.
She said that there was this little boy that was walking down the beach, and there was all these starfish that had washed up on the beach. And as he'd come to each one, he'd bend down, pick it up, and put it back in the water. And an old man walked up and watched him do this for a couple of them. And the old man said, "Why do you bother? There's no way that you could ever put all of them back." And the kid said no. And he picked up another one and put it in the water. He said, but it makes a difference for that one.
Wow.
And so for me, that's a way of acknowledging what you do, because I think so often we get caught up with what we don't get done and what we can't do.
Exactly.
So I think it's really great, especially the people that have been doing like the clapping for them and trying to acknowledge them. I think us showing gratitude is really helpful too.
I totally agree.
But for them, even more so, taking the time, the deep breathing, getting in the exercise, and looking after your self-care, trying to sleep and trying to make sure you're eating regularly.
Now, we're going to take a short break, but when we come back from that, I want to talk a little bit for people who are self-isolating and someone being placed in isolation because of COVID-19. What are some emotions or even feelings that they may experience during and after isolation? We understand the importance of confidentiality for those who may have had the unfortunate diagnosis of being positive, be it asymptomatic or not. The stigma that we're now hearing that comes along with that, if it should ever come out that I was COVID positive. How do you reintegrate back in society? Stick with us right here on Radio Cayman's 89.9 for more of the Business Buzz when we come back.
Our family at Cayman Insurance Center wishes to extend our heartfelt gratitude to the community for your loyal patronage during these challenging times. For 46 years, Cayman Insurance Center has worked to protect your family. And whilst our doors have been closed due to COVID-19, our staff are working remotely to serve your insurance needs. Whether you need to get a quote, renew a policy, or file a claim, Cayman Insurance Center is here to protect you and your family. Your family's health is everything. Please do all that you can to protect it. From our Cayman Insurance Center family to yours, stay safe, stay Cayman strong. Thank you for supporting small and medium-sized businesses here on island.
Cayman Insurance Center, specializing in property, life, health, and other lines of insurance products and services at affordable rates. Call them at 949-4657.
Help support survivors of domestic violence by believing them. Being there for them is one of the best things that you can do. Listen and hear what they need. Let them tell their story in their own way. When supporting persons experiencing domestic violence, maintain confidentiality. They have trusted you enough to share their story. Don't share it with others. If children are involved, alert the multi-agency safeguarding hub. Being there for survivors also means staying in touch. Create a code word or emoji, so if you receive or hear that from them, you will call 911. To help them, it's vital to talk to survivors about their options and help them to evaluate each one. And finally, remember that you cannot rescue survivors of domestic violence, but you can support them on their own terms. For additional support, please contact the Emergency Services, the Cayman Islands Crisis Center, the Family Resource Center, the Legal Befrienders Clinic, the Needs Assessment Unit in Grand Cayman or Cayman Brac, the Mental Health Helpline, the Kids Helpline, or the Department of Community Rehabilitation.
Oh gosh.
Don't let the stress of taking care of loved ones get you down.
Home care, now made easier with Cayman Medical Supplies. 100% Caymanian owned. Cayman Medical Supplies now stocks a wide range of home care supplies. Hospital beds, all types of wheelchairs, including beach access wheelchairs, lifts, commodes, shower chairs, walkers, Curad brand orthopedic supplies. Free blood glucose monitors with the purchase of 1 pack of test strips, blue underpads, and a whole lot more.
Need home care convenience? Drop by Cayman Medical Supplies at 93 Smith Road, Windward Center, or call 949-6211. Free delivery.
We know there has been a lot of changes, and Cayman Medical Supplies is here for the community. From gloves and sanitizers to mandatory supplies, including masks. Hours are now Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Saturday, 9 a.m. till noon. Free delivery island-wide.
Business Buzz with your host, Sabrina Turner. Business Buzz with your host, Sabrina Turner.
Welcome back, keeping the spotlight on Course Cayman, and in studio with me, psychologist Dr. Alexandra Bodden and social worker Miss Natalie Baldwin. Now, if someone is placed in isolation because of COVID-19, what are some emotions or even feelings that they may experience during and after isolation. And tag on to your reply, dealing with the stigma of having been diagnosed with COVID-19 and reintegrating back into the workplace and just society as a whole. Please, I welcome your responses to that.
I think some of the common emotions that someone might feel being in isolation is the common emotions that everyone's feeling now: the fear, the anger, sadness, grief, even overwhelming feelings, even more out of control. What's going to happen? And then it goes into the subject: am I going to be okay? Am I safe? And it's one of those things that it's really important to know the resources out there, like the mental health helpline, that can help, because you can't. Then you're just kind of stuck. You can't really even talk to too many people just via social media or telecommunications. So those are some of the feelings that one might experience, being in guilt and shame, maybe even going back into society, like you said, and letting others know that you might have it if that's a choice.
Yeah,
have had it.
Yeah, well, and especially because a lot of people are asymptomatic. I should imagine it's very frustrating as well.
You don't even know.
Yeah, and then worries because you don't know how long you've had it, so then it brings on other worries like that as well. But I think if people find out about it, or if you're worried about it, like I've got a family member, as I said, who has a long-term condition with a cough, which makes it hard to go in public because there's so many fears about it.
And the stigma that comes with sneezing or coughing now.
Exactly.
When it could just honestly be allergies.
Exactly. Yeah,
Which there are allergies right now that we forget, but then you go straight to the worst, and that's one of the things.
Yeah. And social support is the biggest protective factor we have. I think that's been the hardest part of this, is that you are isolated. You're pulled away from the people and your support system, which is who we would normally lean on in those times where we are scared and we're worried about things. So there's a lot of mixed feelings that come with it. But coming out, hopefully, as people are getting better educated on it, getting more comfortable with it, and things are getting back to normal, they'll be able to get back into a routine.
Now let's talk a little bit about working from home. How does working from home affect the psychological health? What can people do to ensure that they're staying focused, committed, and happy? Is one thing of going to the office, getting up, dressed, going to the office, like coming here in studio. And there's another thing of rolling out of bed, doing my regular routine, going back to bed, put in my earbuds. Susan, are we live? Yeah. It's a total difference because I'm still in my PJs. Yeah. How do you deal with that?
I think it's really funny because there are the memes and all the social media where the first day in shelter in place you have full makeup on. The second day, okay, it's a little bit less and less, and then you're just in your pajamas.
Perfect example of that. The press briefings.
But I actually. It does help to get dressed, to make it, to have a separate working space, because it can be difficult because if your office is your bed and then that's where you sleep, to have that separation. Exactly. If you're able to do that in your home. It's, that's one of the suggestions I have.
Yeah. When I say go ahead and get up and get dressed, even if it's a new pair of PJs, just to have some semblance of a normal routine. But if you are one who is struggling with it, making sure that you are keeping to a routine, keeping in some kind of exercise, some kind of breaks, making sure you're taking time. I think that getting into work mode, but then getting out of work mode is something I see very hard for a lot of the professionals I work with.
They don't know how to
stop. How do you turn off the computer and step away at 5 or 5:30 or 6, whenever you end? To make sure you're making time for other things, for spending time with the kids or going for a walk outside. So I'd say go ahead and schedule self-care time in like that, just like you would a business meeting.
All right. Yeah. Now it's going to be awkward. Where do I wear my PJs? Am I going to work or am I going, when that thing comes back that you got to go to the office, do you feel more comfortable in your PJs in office? Because home is definitely confusing.
Yeah, yes. You have your PJ, your work PJs and your sleep PJs.
Exactly. Now, Natalie, how can you help that 3-year-old child to understand that they can't hug, or kiss their parents or even grandparents as they usually would. I mean, here we're blessed that we're still being allowed now to ease in going to grandma's house, auntie's house, but kids are curious. In my office, I prefer to not have them there for a number of reasons.
Right.
But how do you get them to understand that it's not what they are accustomed to?
Yeah, and I think that's difficult, especially for a younger kid like that with age development. But I always say open communication, age-appropriate talk. So with the 3-year-old, you can't go into the spiel of what a virus is, because they're not going to understand. But to have that open communication and say, and to validate their feelings. I know you really want to hug and kiss grandma, but right now we need to make sure she's safe, and explain what safe means age-appropriately. You know, because was it not safe before when I was hugging and kiss them, right? And then just to be consistent and have them talk about how they feel about that, and then reminders, because they're always going to have limit setting, and reminding them this is why we can't. And that's the best we can do right now in this situation.
Now, how is On-Course keeping in touch with your clients, and how have you, I know we dabbled into this at the very beginning, but changing something that is now here to stay. It's not until after the 19th when maybe there's a new set of regulations. It's just keeping safe, moving forward with our lives. Both of you are expecting moms. You know, you just have to, you're bringing a kid into the world. What kind of world?
Right.
But, you know, what are you doing from the business perspective, and to not lose touch with your clients? Some may be a little apprehensive in this video style of things and still want that, even if it's from the driveway type of service.
Yeah. So as I said, we're really lucky with the transition to telehealth. So we do have a secure online video chat platform that we use. For clients that aren't comfortable with that, we are using phone calls as well. So that is something that we've been using. We use emails, and we have a secure portal that we use through our online system in order to share links. And likewise, when we had updates, like when we closed the office, we sent everything out through emails like that to notify them. We do a lot with social media as well. Miss Natalie's got a great segment she calls Talk About It with Natalie, which is about, she uses tacos to talk about different mental health topics, and sharing different coping strategies and ways of dealing with things like anger and frustration and grief. And so things like the radio shows and taking those opportunities to share the message and give information. I always tell people, if I could put myself out of a job, I would, by being able to share information, empower people, and encouraging people within the community to do what they can to support each other too.
Excellent.
So from the business, it's phone calls and secure video chats that we've been using, and hoping at some point to offer in person, but we're hoping that the insurance companies will support continued telehealth for those who want it. It does permit a lot of access to services that other people may not be able to get. Kids that don't have a parent that can bring them. Maybe adults who have either severe anxiety, depression, maybe have difficulties getting out the house, or just have difficulties with getting into the office physically. It's made it a lot more accessible, so that is something we're hoping that they'll consider allowing us to continue with.
Okay. I think great changes are coming in, some that would actually have been unthinkable in our jurisdiction. It's going to be the way of norm, and it's really just catching up with the rest of the world, in all honesty. Now, what are some sticking points to leave with our listeners regarding being proactive about our mental health and to help keep both our mind and body strong?
I think the biggest thing, if they're like Dr. Bodden said, if you think that there's signs or different behaviors that you need some help, is the first thing is to get help. So I would encourage you to do that, whatever way that is. Also, to know that we're all in this together, like I said, to give yourself grace, that every day is a new day, and to focus on self-care is what I would have to say.
Yeah. Definitely focusing on the little things that you can do each day. I think Miss Natalie had some great ideas there with, make sure you're eating right, getting in some exercise, deep breathing. There's actually some great apps that are really useful.
Yes.
Headspace does little meditations and has lots of prompts, which I like, because meditating is not something I necessarily actively think about. I incorporate my physical exercise I love, so that's in my routine already. But Headspace makes it really easy to bring meditation in, which is very good for calming the physical arousal that comes with stress and anxiety. Calm is another one that's got a lot of relaxation exercises. Smiling Mind has a lot for dealing with COVID stress right now as well. But I'd say know the resources that are out there. Know that there's no right way or wrong way to be feeling right now. We're all going through so many changes. Whatever you're feeling is okay.
Yeah.
Right? That's how you feel. There's nothing wrong with it. But if it is the point where it's overwhelming, knowing the resources that are out there. There's lots of private services available like us and several other private practices. The government has a lot of resources available. Ms. Natalie mentioned the mental health helpline, which is 1-800-534-6463. You're able to call anytime during the week, speak to a certified mental health professional, and then get connected with services if needs be. The Counseling Center, government offers free counseling available. And I think that they right now are doing a mix of telehealth and in-person.
Right.
They're able to be reached by 949-8789. And of course, anytime there's emergencies, there's always the hospital that's there with a psychiatrist on call should needs be.
And reaching out to OnCourse, what are your contact details?
Yep. So our phone number is 745-6463. Our website is oncourse.ky. Both of our emails are available there as well, but our office email is info@oncourse.ky. We're on Instagram at oncourse.kman, which ONCOURSE. So it's all one word. It looks like encore, which I'm a dancer, so I thought that was great. But it's about getting on course with life.
Yeah.
And we're also on Facebook as well as On Course Kman.
Well, ladies, it has been a pleasure, and I want to thank you for coming on our show. I really wish that we could have expanded this and give a little bit more to our elderly and for couples having to deal with this. And we understand, and I want to invite you all back to zoom in on the elderly and how they can cope with anxiety and stress. And just partners in this together, being in that space. It was one thing where pre-COVID, she making too much noise, I'll just go down the road and slap some dominoes or whatever.
Right.
But you know, when you're in that shelter in place and you really have the opportunity to look at one another, how are you able to deal with that? And then there's the mental abuse side of it as well, physical abuse.
Right.
But I would love for you guys to come back on our show so that we can just engage into this to deal with the elderly who have also struggled. We know that some of them have done very well. They've found new talents, new gifts, new strengths, and they have really shared with us, our generation, stories of what they have been through, and now coming through COVID. Hooray for them. It's new for us, but oh child, this is a new one for us, but nothing we can't overcome. But I would really like to extend another invitation to you to just zoom in on the elderly and couples as a whole.
Yeah, no, for sure. The elderly is definitely a population that's been hugely affected by this. And Miss Nellie and I have done a lot with managing relationships with our clients and with workshops. So thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
And we want to thank you, our loyal listeners and fans. Yes, we're back. And again, this would not be possible without our kind sponsors. Yes, that's Kman Insurance Center and Kman Medical Supplies for definitely sticking with us. And we thank them for their continued sponsorship. Until Thursday, have a safe and fabulous Tuesday.
Business Buzz.
The Business Buzz is brought to you by Kman Insurance Center, celebrating 46 years in the Cayman Islands, specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services. And also brought to you by Kman Medical Supplies. Call them at 949-6211.